Hey everyone, I just want to come in real quick before the video here today and let you know that it is brought to you by these Patreon supporters right here. These are my top tier supporters that have generously donated their money to help me upgrade this channel with the new camera and new lights and all that. So I just wanted to give them a quick thank you. It means the world to me that you guys are supporting me. So yeah, on with the video. Hey everyone, it's me, Brian with Destructive Media, back with another reaction video for you all today. Today I'm going to be reacting to the Bookish Theory video of Dionysus by BTS. I've already done 2 reactions to this song, the English music video type version. That was my first reaction. I really enjoyed the song. And then I watched a live version that was amazing. As we all know, BTS is amazing live. Their performance of that was really, really fun to watch. So please go watch those videos if you haven't already. So that being said, I am really excited to watch this explanation video or, theory video or whatever it is. I've never watched this channel before. I know it's been recommended quite a few times on other songs. I usually watch X Celeste and, sorry, it's escaping my mind right now, the other gentleman that I watch. But I'm really excited to see this person's style, what their video style is like. The other recommendations that you all have shown me have been really, really good. So let's just flip on over to my other screen here and we will watch this Bookish Theory video of Dionysus. All right, well, I got the video pulled up here. Not much more to say besides let's watch this video together.
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In today's video, I would like to talk about BTS song Dionysus, focusing on the meaning of the song and on the reasons why it may be more important than expected in the Map of the Soul trilogy and in the overall Bangtan universe plotline. Ever since Persona came out back in April, Dionysus has been a fan favorite, and judging by the way it was received, a lot of armies consider it a party song about drinking and having fun. This is true to an extent, of course, but as we'll soon see, Dionysus not only may have some clues about the direction the trilogy is taking, but may also shed light on some aspects of the previous eras that might have been foreshadowing Map of the Soul all along. Before diving into the song,
those memes, those are good.
Let's first take a look at the protagonist of this track, Dionysus himself. Dionysus is one of the 12 Olympians of the Pantheon, one of the strongest deities belonging to Greek mythology. Primarily known as the god of wine and fertility, Dionysus is also the god of ritual madness, religious ecstasy, and theater. Dionysus is the son of Zeus, and his mother, according to contrasting accounts, was either Persephone, the queen of the underworld, or Semele, a mortal woman Zeus fell in love with. The myths revolving around his birth are quite unique, because in spite of the identity of the mother, a detail that remains unchanged is that Hera, the wife of Zeus, tries to kill him before he is even born. In both versions, Zeus saves the baby by sewing it to his thigh, and because of that, the god is called Dionysus, which means twice born. As the only god of the Pantheon with a human parent, Dionysus was a very popular deity, and the origins of his cult are ancient and uncertain. Several sources tell us that he was not a Greek god, but a god of Asian origins that was later assimilated to Greek culture. His foreignness is an important part of his cults because he was also considered the god of Epiphany, which, as you may know, is a sudden and striking revelation that happens unexpectedly. As a god linked to harvest and fertility, his cult had very sexual and carnal overtones. During his religious festivals, the worshippers got closer to the god by intoxicating themselves, and music and dancing played an important role in their religious experience. The rituals dedicated to him were very theatrical and were primarily aimed at the spiritual and physical awakening of the people involved. While he was originally portrayed as an adult male, the majority of his later iconography displays Dionysus as an androgynous boy with very delicate features. He is always depicted with a cup in his hand or carrying a thyrsus, a wooden staff covered with ivy vines and topped with a pine cone. The thyrsus is an essential aspect of Dionysus iconography, and it
Tirsus. Okay, I said that wrong, but sorry.
symbolizes fertility, prosperity, and pleasure. According to several Roman sources, the thyrsus was also a phallic symbol that was meant to highlight the god's sensuous nature, and the staff was thought to incite to madness whoever was touched by it. Like the other gods of the pantheon, Dionysus had also his sacred animals, the snake, the bull, and the panther, all creatures that the god was able to shapeshift into as well. The snake is a symbol of rebirth, transformation, and fertility. The bull, which due to the shape of its horns is an animal that is connected to the power of the moon, symbolizes both the masculine and the feminine. While the panther, an animal whose name in Greek means all beast, highlights the universality of Dionysus as a god of all for all. In BTS Dionysus, all the elements I just mentioned are brought together in the song The Closest Persona, and if you think that this is random or that it doesn't have anything to do with Carl Jung's map of the soul, well, let's see if I can change your mind,
Nothing BTS does this by accident.
shall we? The intro of the song gives us an overview of the imagery I just presented you. The boys are sipping wine, linking arms, they're gripping their thyrsus and eating their grapes. Everything is in line with the iconography linked to Dionysus, and the live performances are choreographed in a way that recalls the Dionysian festivals, which were gatherings organized in honor of the god, where the participants danced under the influence of alcohol. The choreography is frenetic and energetic. At the beginning, the boys are wearing traditional Greek robes, an outfit usually worn by the priests of Dionysus, and Aram is carrying the thyrsus, which makes him and the others the representatives of Dionysus on stage. The backup dancers in this scenario are meant to represent the worshippers of the god, who celebrate around the priests who carry the word of Dionysus. In the Speak Yourself tour, the song opens the concerts, and in the background they have two giant panthers. This is important because Dionysus is often portrayed riding the animal, so the appearance of the panthers suggests the arrival of the god and the beginning of the celebration. The first verse is sang by Aram, and here we get the first glimpse of the real meaning behind the song. Drink in one hand, thyrsus on the other, art splashing inside this crystal clear cup. Art is alcohol too. If you can drink it, you'll get drunk like a fool. Aram here compares art to alcohol, which is something that falls perfectly in line with the Dionysian symbolism. As I mentioned earlier, Dionysus is the god of wine and pleasure, but also ritual madness, religious ecstasy, epiphany, and theater. These elements are part of a process that leads to the final purpose of the Dionysian cult, which is to free yourself from society. When you drink, you free your wild side, you become mad, so to speak, and through madness you get closer to Dionysus, which is what religious ecstasy is. This connection to the god enlightens you, it gives you an epiphany, and because of that you are born again as a free person. In Greek mythology and literature, one of the names of Dionysus is Eleutherios, which means the liberator, and this is also why he is the god of theater. In Greek society, theater was maybe the only institution where both the audience and the actors could escape real life. By putting on a mask, the actors could become whoever they liked. They freed themselves through art, which is exactly what Aram is saying in the song. Art is like alcohol because it frees you. You can express yourself through it and show yourself for who you really are, and the song continues by developing this idea. The boys get drunk on their art. They drink and drink some more, then hit the gong and say on heya, which is an expression used in Korean folk music that represents happiness, meaning that through art they achieved a state of bliss. They had an epiphany, that connection with something bigger they were looking for. In the second verse, V and Jungkook continue like this. I'm now in front of the door.
So cool. So like I said in my reaction to the live, like something has to do with their clothes. They don't do anything by accident. I was just answered, so that's cool. Just the thought that goes into everything is so cool that they do. There's nothing that they're doing that's just like, just throw that in there. Why not? No, it has to make sense. It has to do something or mean something. has to advance a storyline or have a purpose. And that's cool. That's really cool.
To the world, the cheers I hear when I get up on stage. Can't you see my stuck broken Tirsus? At last I'm reborn. Here we see where their art led them. When they are on stage, they are on top of the world. Armies with them and they hear you cheering. But there's also the stuck broken Tirsus, which is meant to show that the artistic process is also full of failures. If the Tirsus is the symbol of the freeing power of Dionysus, BTS' metaphorical Tirsus is their music. Through music, they free themselves and others from the constrictions of society, but this is not something that happens easily or naturally. There's work behind it, and the stuck broken Tirsus represents the pain and failures they had to face despite their success. This is also expressed in J-Hope's verse. Now, J-Hope's verse is very interesting because the way he describes their creative process mirrors the Dionysian festivals that inspired their live performances as well. The cult of Dionysus was linked to drunkenness and confusion. The intoxicated frenzy of the worshippers was meant to open their minds and free their true selves. And in the song, the same thing happens when J-Hope describes their method of work. When they are working in the studio, there's a lot of mumbling and tumbling. The atmosphere is hazy and confused because the artistic process is messy and the crazy artist is drunk on his art. When the night comes, the studio is filled by the sound of the bass drum that goes dum dum dum, and this mirrors exactly what happens in the cults of Dionysus because percussions were instruments sacred to the god and therefore used by his worshippers during their rituals. BTS
And that's why the song has such a strong drum line in it.
creative process here is compared to a religious experience. If the worshippers of Dionysus get drunk on wine, BTS get drunk on art, but the final outcome is the same: freedom that leads to rebirth. This concept is also mentioned in Suga's verse. Like Dionysus, BTS are born twice, once as idols and once as artists. Their commitment to their art brought them where they are now, and while difficult, the process is also intoxicating and liberating. Art freed them and empowered them. Now they can be whoever they want to be, but even if they have it all, they still want more. Suga's verse here is about the addictive power of art and success. They are drunk on music, which is what they use to free themselves and others, but this process is not over. With nobody else to top, their new record, Suga says, is the fight against themselves. This brings us to the map of the soul concept, and more specifically to the idea of identity. Now, the question of identity has been explored many times throughout the years by BTS, and it is no secret that in the past the boys have had some issues in coming to terms with who they really are. Following Carl Jung's map of the soul, the Persona album is all about the contrast between their identities. It's about the difference between who they appear to be and who they really are, the relationship between masculinity and anima, as well as the contrast between their public identity and their private life. This idea is also evident in the concept photos, where they are either at home, in front of a mirror, or posing for a photo shoot. The attention here is entirely focused on duality. The persona is a public version of yourself. It is as perfect as it can be, but it also hides something deeper, which is that side of yourself that you are the least proud of. In Jung's map of the soul, this side of yourself is called the shadow, which is an unconscious aspect of your personality that the ego does not.
Okay, let's digest this image. The anima animus is the female side or the male side or characteristics of a person. We have both in us. The shadow is things that you hide, the bad things that you think that are bad about you, and you hide them from people. The self is obviously your true self, who you really are. Persona is your mask, who you tell people you are. I believe ego's in there too, but I think that's different. Yeah, sorry.
Not identifying itself. The shadow embodies the primitive side of yourself, the part of you that is irrational and instinctive. And in Aram's intro, this word appears coupled with persona and ego, thus suggesting that map of the soul persona will be followed by map of the soul shadow and eventually by map of the soul ego. This metaphysical journey that starts from persona, continues with shadow and ends with ego has been foreshadowed for a very long time, maybe even longer than what you would expect. As it often happens with BTS, in order to go forward, we have to go back. So let's take a look at a few examples starting from the most recent ones. A few weeks ago, I made a video about BTS' newest Japanese single, Lights, and in it, I theorized that the music video is meant to be a sequel of sorts to Boy With Love. If in Boy With Love they are outside the persona theater, in Lights they are inside the theater, which is something that hints at their intention to show us what happens behind the scenes, inside the persona. This is also foreshadowed in RM's intro. In the lyrics, he mentions his shadow, which is hesitation, a feeling that never fails to appear under the stage or the light, which is something we are also shown in Boy With Love. When RM sings his verse, he is in the spotlight while performing on stage. That's his persona because he looks exactly like he wants us to see him. He is handsome, elegant, confident, and everything feels right. In the corner, however, his reflection is in a cage, and this is a direct callback to his Wings solo.
I did not catch that.
Reflection, RM says that when he looks at his reflection, he hates himself, but also that he wants to be free. He wants to be free because he's trapped. Inside of him, there's something that he doesn't accept that keeps him from loving himself, and that's literally what Jung's shadow is. This issue is later dealt with in the Love Yourself trilogy, but let's take a look at the Reflection short film from the Wings era. RM is trapped in a confined space, then he drinks and has a vision where he's able to break free. RM here frees himself by drinking. And who is the god that frees people with alcohol? Well, Dionysus. Dionysus is important because it acts as a bridge between the persona and the shadow. Dionysus is a god that embodies the masculine and the feminine, the madness and ecstasy linked to the artistic process, and a power that represents subversion. With wine and art, Dionysus liberates your deepest instincts and desires. He destroys the persona by freeing the shadow. As I said earlier, the shadow is the dark side of yourself, the part of your identity that you want to hide in contrast to the persona, which is the part of you that you want to show. In Jung's map of the soul, this conflict is eventually resolved by the ego, which is the part of yourself that represents reason, the part whose task is to find a balance between the primitive aspect of your personality and the public version of yourself. Back in the Wings era, the contrast between good and bad was embodied by another god, Abraxas, which was heavily featured in the storyline. Much like what happened in Dionysus, the boys get in touch with Abraxas by drinking, and this is something that is shown in both the Korean and Japanese versions of Blood, Sweat and Tears. What is interesting here is that both Abraxas and Dionysus appear in the theories of Carl Jung. According to Jung, Abraxas is a central figure in the theory of individuation. That is the idea that everyone creates their own identity by developing out of the same unconscious. Abraxas creates truth and lies, good and evil, light and darkness at the same time. He is a force of chaos that Jung sees in a very negative light, but the BTS used not only in the Wings era, but to some extent in the Fake Love era as well. During the 2018 Melon Music Awards, the VCR that introduces their performance shows a mirror with an upside-down message that says, "I show you not only your true side, but also your fake side," which means that the mirror shows everything about you, both the fake things you want to show and the real things you're trying to hide. Mirrors literally force you to face yourself. They trigger self-awareness, which is the first step that leads you to individuation. In BTS videography, the mirror has always been an important aspect of their imagery. The members are shown kissing their reflection, studying it, hating it, even breaking inside of it, and these images are all symbols of hidden aspects of themselves. Whether it's vanity, self-hatred, self-reflection, or psychological pain, the mirror shows what Abraxas represents, that is the chaos inside every one of us, the shadow that Dionysus frees with his power. In Jung's theories, Dionysus is associated with extraversion, which is a personality trait that makes you seek gratification from the outside world. And this makes sense because the cult of Dionysus revolved around social activities. Because of that, Dionysus is also linked to the persona, because that's the part of you that mostly interacts with the outside world. What is interesting here is that Dionysus, while being a symbol of the persona, is also the one to blame for its destruction. I think that in the light of what we've seen until now, the choice to end Map of the Soul persona with Dionysus is not random at all. The symbolism associated with the god makes him a figure that represents both persona and shadow. The song represents the connection between these two sides, and because of that, it closes persona by introducing shadow. I think that Map of the Soul shadow will be somehow connected to the Wings era and concept. Dionysus destroyed the persona and gave way to the shadow, thus freeing the chaos that Abraxas represents. So that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did or have any requests for future videos, please let me know in the comments down below. If you like BTS and you are interested in videos like this one, I'm already planning other videos that may interest you, so please consider liking and subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!
I already liked the video before I started it, and I subscribed. I suggest you all do the same. Very well done, very comprehensive. I learned so much. Man, just makes me appreciate the song even more. Like the subtitle of, or the title of the videos, it's more important than you think to the BTS overarching story during this time period. I'm a little blown away, I guess. Because it was just like one thing after another. I was like, what? Makes me really excited to hear the Shadow and Eagle songs, and to keep exploring all of this, keep diving deeper in, because it just gets cooler and cooler and cooler. It's kind of like this, well, it is this like little universe within our universe, sub-stories within stories that are telling us what they're feeling, and it's just so cool. I wish more bands did this stuff, instead of being so blunt about things, to just kind of not hide it behind art, but show you art that you have to digest and really dive into, to get what they're saying, which is cool because like that will draw out really deep fans, when you hide things like that, or put deep meanings in your songs that aren't going to come across unless you look deeper into it, you're going to get these amazing fans that they have. And I think that's part of it too. Why Army is Army, because look at what they're liking. That's super cool. I might turning into Army too, because when people like bring up BTS, I'm like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I think that means I might be turning into an Army. That's okay though. Nothing wrong with that. Baby Army now. I'm gonna have to title the stuff Baby Army Reacts. But yeah, I really enjoyed this Bookish Theory video. Sorry I didn't talk much. I was really absorbing that. I can't wait to hear the song again now. And like I said, more of the album. This is probably one of my favorite songs off of this album so far. I really liked Intro Persona. I still listen to that song in my car. My kids like it. They're like, oh, Persona. I can't wait to show them this song. They're really gonna like it. Maybe I'll have my son come on and listen to the song. I don't know. Like I said, he's always pretty busy. So, but yeah, thank you all for watching. This was really fun. I'm hoping to watch more Bookish Theory videos. I'm still gonna watch more XLS videos, and BTS Army videos, and I'm watching a lot of stuff right now. So if you want to suggest anything else, I would appreciate it. Just let me know down below in the comments. I would also appreciate it if you could join me over on Patreon. I have a bunch of exclusive stuff over there, behind the scene photos, content that you can watch early. You can watch these videos early. You can comment, and we can kind of interact and talk about the video before it goes public, kind of more one-on-one, and all that fun stuff. So if you could join me over there, I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, just take care of yourself, take care of others, take it easy.